Welcome to WROL Broadcasts and Tewtytunes. Is that what you call it?
Hello. Yeah, Tewtytron, Tewtytunes, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what you called your special episode. Well, we are doing a joint venture because I need a slow gear because up and away mission still exists. It's terrible. Ruins everything. And WB, if you're listening, you need to do away with the mission. Not fair to spenders. Makes the spenders spend less because we don't get to play the new tunes. So then if we decide we want to rebirth them, we don't know if we can because we can't gear them. A lot of drama with that.
It's a
But
big, what's that, yeah.
Tewtytron has been waiting a long time for Vandal Savage. It's one of those characters he talked about at length. So what are your impressions of him now that you have him L5 and you played with him for 15 minutes?
Yeah.
At L5. You have played with him for a while at Legendary
Yeah.
2.
Since the day he dropped, I've had him level 80, fully geared, fully ringed. So he has been, he has his ups and his downs for sure. He has some benefits where he does do damage. The damage is good. So if you're looking for a damage dealer, he's good. His weaknesses are that he's slow, and he's squishy. But they gave him two things for protection. Like they gave him his turn 0 damage immunity, which is nice. They gave him the death immunity if he gets under 50% health, which is nice. Which is actually kind of a persistent death immunity. I'm not gonna lie. Like if he accidentally gets under 50% health, like it's almost guaranteed that you're gonna get that death immunity every turn. So he has some survivability. Now the problem is that if you kill him before he gets to that 50% mark, he doesn't ever get the death immunity, and it's really easy to one-shot him after his damage immunity falls off. So getting him to L4, L5 is going to be crucial for his own survivability, even if you don't really care about the legendary points.
Yeah, and you mentioned his damage is pretty good. I was watching some of the videos you sent me. I'm watching one right now. And I see he had like a full stack of strength up, or not strength ups, crit ups. And is he intellect or strength based? It's embarrassing. I don't even know.
He's special damage, yeah.
Okay, I thought he was special damage. But he didn't even do much to Arcus when he hit him. I was kind of surprised.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was a rebirth Arcus in that video, but
Okay.
even so, it's give and take. You have to build him on a crit team if you want him to do his major damage. Like he needs the buffs basically, and his kit looked really plug and play on paper. I'm not thinking that he's the greatest tune, but he's not terrible either. He's not Ra's al Ghul upon debut terrible, like he is decent, he's playable, he's viable.
So that's what you make, since he falls into that kind of low B, C tier level, that makes him rebirth worthy in your book?
I will if I decide to rebirth him, it'll be mainly due, to fandom purposes. I like the witty characters, the ones that are like immortals or assassin type characters, because they're up against like metahumans and aliens, and they have to use their brains a bit more to do their cool plots and stuff. So Vandal's been a fun one in my book for a while, and I've been asking for him on Joker's poll for probably a good year and a half now. So I'm glad he's finally here. I'm not terribly disappointed with it, but I'm also like, it could have been better.
Yeah. I know a lot of the people, Ballsy seems to have warmed up to him a little bit, but I know a lot of the people that have him have been pretty disappointed, and I decided I wasn't planning on making him slow gear because I did make Guy a slow gear, and Guy seems okay. Like he seems actually a little better than I originally gave him credit for. But if I make Vandal a slow gear as well, that kind of set me up to be able to speed gear anybody I want right out of the gate. So he kind of feels like a good candidate, which is why I'm resisting, because I don't think he's going to be needed. The siege is terrible, so I'm not even going to waste my time with curing him for siege. The only thing he might be pretty good for raids, but I doubt he'll be the X5 if the pattern holds. He'll probably be an X3. So
Right.
He,
I I'm
I don't know.
holding out hope that since I've only been playing with him at L5 for 15 minutes, um, that he either gets like shadow buffed or like um, he proves to be better than like the 3 or 4 fights I've done since I've brought him to L5. Um, we'll see. Because you guys even like kind of change your opinion throughout the month as you get more playtime with the character. So I'm hoping
Yeah,
that's the case.
yeah,
But sadly, I have 2 days to decide if I want to rebirth 5M or not. So
yeah. That's the problem with these sales. They don't last long enough. And then sometimes it was like one of my, I've mentioned this a few times. My biggest regret in DCL was not rebirthing 5 Cersei. When I first used her, I didn't like her that much. Like I was kind of disappointed. Then as I used her more and more, I liked her more and more. And thought she was pretty good. But I was like, well, RB2, RB3 will probably be good enough. I miscounted and only took her to RB2 on accident. But since I've been using her as RB2 for a good couple months now I'm regretting it and wish I could take her to RB5. Actually, her next sale, she will go RB5. I don't care what the sale is. It could be a
right.
terrible sale and she'll still go RB5. But
I'm hoping Vandal is that for me at this point in time. Like, I hope that I'm like, he's okay, and then like somehow further down the line, what I'm really worried about. This is what I'm actually really worried about is that in the future, Grodd is going to get a rework that is going to give intelligence and speed to his team, and I'm going to be like, Vandal would be such a great partner with Grodd, hopefully in the future,
have you played him
because
with
he's
Lex? Because I've heard a few people say he's really good with Lex.
yeah, I've played it with Lex, and Lex definitely helps with the special damage and the turn meter. And it also helps with his survivability. He pretty much covers all the weaknesses. The only problem is I just don't like using Lex because he's a god tier character, and I'm, obviously not meta playing. But yes, he does help Vandal quite a bit.
Yeah, that's the problem with Lex. I mean, he even makes Jay Garrick look good, so it's it's a hard. It's kind of like a Grundy right now. I like Grundy. Grundy's pretty good, but he's only good for like 1.5 turns. With Lex, he's amazing because Lex shores up all his weaknesses. But it's just you you get so bored of using Lex.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I'm hoping for that Grodd rework. But I'm debating if I want to Rebirth 5 Savage or not. I think it's like a 50-50 right now.
Now,
Because Vandal.
Legendary Order. What would you think for Vandal?
So his 2 and his 5 are essential, and you should not play Savage unless he's L2 at a minimum, because otherwise he's just gonna die right away. Or if you take his 2 first and you don't take his 5, he's gonna do the damage, but he's gonna die right away.
What does this
And
two
if
do?
his 2 gives him crit ups as well, and just the like without the 2, he gets intelligence ups and mends. But with the legendary point, he also gets crit ups, so he has 2 abilities that give him crit ups. Um, so that increases his damage by quite a bit. And then his 5 gives him that damage immunity from turn 0, which gives him that extra survivability. So that those 2 are absolutely essential if you want him to be able to fulfill his own role. After that, I would take 3 to reset the 2 because the 2 is his most important ability. And then I would do either 1 or 4. They're both about equal importance. Um, it's up to the eye of the beholder on that one.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people they like the one a little better, but I think I'd probably agree with the one just because 2 permanent crit ups when an enemy dies isn't fantastic. I mean, it's not bad, but the 70%
Yeah.
extra damage seems like it would be more useful personally. But
Yeah, if you get below that 50% mark, like he's not Green Lantern John Stewart. He like because John Stewart has to get below 50% health to become useful. Savage is still useful above 50% health, which is nice, but he does escalate a bit better under 50%.
yeah, that under 50% was the part that I was worried about. His kit looked, it's funny how whenever things, you're looking at things on paper and then you think, oh, this character's pretty plug and play, he looks pretty good. But then when you see them in action, it's like a whole different world. But he just, I was worried about that. When I saw the 50%, it made me worried. That was the only thing that kind of I wasn't sure about.
Well, with all the other buffs in his kit, I don't mind the 50% like gate. The only problem is when I saw the 108 speed, that's when I was like, okay, this is probably an issue. He's only got like 25,000 health. That's not very much. Like he's squishy and slow, but can hit like a truck if you plan a team around him. But so yeah, he's not the best character, but he can do the job if you have no one else. Like if you're doing red alerts and Black Adam died, you can replace him with Savage if you want.
So the main teams you want to run him on are going to be special damage boost or crit based teams. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
I know Bolsey was saying that he liked, and Bolsey's the ocean. He has two names, so if you get confused. He's warming up to him a little bit, mainly because of the starting the battle with damage immunity, which is, I've noticed they're starting to come out with more characters with stuff like that, which is good because there's just too many characters that can nuke characters right out of the gate.
Right, and I also think they're doing a lot of the selective AoE stuff, like we saw it with Kilowog with his like selective stun on his AoE, and now Savage has his selective buff immunity on his AoE, which is nice because it helps you get around like taunters. You can do it on invisible people. His 3 is currently bugged, by the way. Like, and I've told Reeves about it on Reddit, where if you pick someone who has like awareness or damage immunity, the buff immunity does not currently apply. But if you deal damage to the character, it will apply. So it is bugged, and hopefully the team is working on it. She said she'll tell the team about it.
Yeah, I think it's because the way it reads, it does the special damage and then applies the buff immunity, so it's probably not triggering for some reason.
Right. It's just a little annoying, but it's kind of crucial to his kit if you want to like neuter Arcus or stop Harley Quinn from getting her taunt back, stuff like that.
Yeah, I could see that. Anything else on Savage that you wanted to cover?
No, I think that pretty much covers it. Yeah, it's pretty roundabout way of saying.
This will go out to Patreons first, so we appreciate you. Me and Tewty are going to send it out to both of our Patreon pages, so if you're a Patreon for both, this is going to be a duplicate episode, but we wanted to do this joint venture for fun.
It's a good time. I enjoy it.
And you'll have the 19-hour drive home to test them out.
Yeah. Oh, God, so much.
So at least you can do that before your sale ends.
That's true. Florida to the Midwest it's gonna be fun.
How was your trip so far?
Sunny and bright. It only rained once, which was nice, and it was while we were sleeping. So the thunderstorm was actually pretty crazy, but I got to do a bunch of cool stuff on the ocean, so I don't get to see the ocean very often.
And the beaches in the Panhandle are amazing, so.
Oh yeah, no, the beach feels like I'm walking on sugar. Like, it's beautiful.
Cool. All right. Well, we will end it there. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for listening to this episode of WROL Broadcast. Please help us out by becoming a Patreon and getting access to special Patreon-only shows. Just go to patreon.com/WROL Broadcast. We also now have DC face masks at our store. Be sure to check it out.
What happened to Tewtytron? He's so meta now.